Hello, today I'm going to be making this video for my business law class with Martin Coop. So we've got Apple and we have Samsung. They're two giant technology companies and they're going head to head, so let's get started. The nearly 7-year-long patent battle between Apple and Samsung was never about more than just money, but rather a pointless brawl between two technology powerhouses. So who's Apple? First of all, we all know Steve Jobs. Apple is a multinational company based out of California. They develop and sell electronics like iPads, iPods, iPhones, computers, software, Apple TV, Apple Watches, and let's not forget the latest, hottest product, the Apple AirPod. Apple has more than 75,000 patents and has filed for more than 2,200 since just 2017. In the 2019 financial year, Apple's revenue brought in $260.17 billion. To put that into perspective, the average cost of a Lamborghini is $200,000 to $500,000. So Apple could literally invest in over 740,000 cars with that kind of money. Then we have Samsung, a company from South Korea that sells electronics like TVs and software, just like Apple, very similar company. Kind of like Chevy and Ford, they both sell trucks and cars, right? In 2016, Samsung was the largest vendor worldwide for the smartphone market, making them Apple's biggest rival. Not only that, but Samsung has 1.2 million patents and has filed for over 10,000 more in the last 10 months. The whole process of getting patents is a little bit ridiculous, but that's a whole nother story. In 2019, Samsung reported $230.4 trillion in revenue and about an eighth more of that in just operating costs. Just saying, but there are about 328.2 million citizens in the US that could get over $700,000 each if Samsung just wanted to go out of business and leave all their money to the US. So what are they actually fighting over? Apple is suing the heck out of Samsung in order to try and block all of their sales so they can't make profit, and it's all over a few patents that Apple owns. Over the years, they've each sued each other over different patents that each of them supposedly own. But let's focus on which case the Supreme Court looked at. Whether Samsung's infringement of the iPhone looks should be punished by making them turn over every single penny they made off of that, or just to the value of the design. This all goes back to April in 2011 when Apple sued Samsung saying that their phone had crossed the lines on some patent that their iPhone had held. The jury ended up agreeing that Samsung did infringe on that patent and awarded them $1 billion in damages. But then the case was put back on retrial. During that retrial, the jury then went and awarded $300 million to Apple. Back in retrial, Samsung argued that the jury shouldn't have been allowed to award damages to their entire profit, but rather just that they should be given a percentage of the profit that they earned from the infringement. So what's the issue here? So basically, we just need to know if when you copy somebody's design patent, if you have to pay back for every single profit you made or just a portion of what you made for that patent. Well, in this case, there are two different types of patents. There's the utility patent and then there's a design patent. The utility patent covers the way things work. The design patent covers the way things look in respect to the way they work. But the utility patent is not what was the issue here, it was the design patent, because Apple was saying that Samsung made a smartphone that was really similar to theirs and the customers could get confused when buying them. So, the application of the case. The relevant text of the Patent Act encompasses both an end product sold to a consumer as well as the component of that product. In conclusion, the fact that a component may be incorporated into the larger end product does not place it outside of the category of an article of manufacture. Therefore, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit interpreted the phrase too narrowly to only refer to the end product. Section 289, Title 35 of the United States Code says, "When a design patent is infringed, the infringer is liable for the entirety of his profits." So how did this all end up? Well, in May of 2018, after arguing and suing each other some more, Apple was finally awarded $5.3 million, bringing the final cost that Samsung ended up paying them $539 million. Congrats, Apple. In the end, the case was literally just over money because Apple was seeking $1 billion in damages, and Samsung turned around and said, no, we should only owe you $28 million. I think that they should only have to pay for the patent that they infringed on and not the entire cost. Also, the patents that Apple had were way too broad in the first place. That's like saying Chevy produces cars with 4 tires, therefore no one else can produce cars with 4 tires. Makes no sense. If it really came down to the two products looking very similar, I think a consumer is going to be able to tell which one's Samsung and which one's Apple, especially if you're walking into a store with a big Apple above it. Cases like this are a lose-lose for consumers in the end anyways, because we want competition, therefore we get the best products out of each company. Not only that, but when you make them less competitive, then the price goes up for the buyer. Personally, even though Samsung made money off of Apple's similar design, I think that's just business. Tough luck.